In this video, we're going to show how to pull your CMP data inside of PowerSchool. I will start off by saying that this video should be used for training purposes only, that no real students or staff are shown in this video as it is from a sandbox server of fake information, and any likeness to any real student or staff member is purely coincidental. So we have built an enterprise report for CMP personnel to be able to pull that can be run at either a school level if you need a school manager to run the information, or it can be run at the district level if the district CMP coordinator needs to run this information. So to access the CMP report inside of PowerSchool, we're going to navigate to the data and reporting area, reports, and enterprise reports. Now, your enterprise reports page may look very different from mine because the enterprise reports are all based on one, if your district has installed this report for your district to use, or two, if you have been allowed access permissions to the different subgroups of reports inside of enterprise reporting. So, if you're CMP, you might not see attendance or discipline type stuff in here. So, you will need to look under the area in which your CMP report is placed in. Most likely, it might be in the list report. They might have localized one instead of schedules called the CMP and giving you access here. But what you want to look for is the one called ALSDE CNP Report. When I click on the ALSDE CNP Report, it first begins with a couple of graphs to let you know the environment of your CMP progress inside of PowerSchool. So we give you a chart broken down of percentages, or excuse me, counts of your free DCs, your full pay, your reduced, so that you can get that in a glance. For each one of these charts, they are also filterable. So for example, because it says I have free DC 3,116 kids, if I wanted this spreadsheet below to just be those 3,116 kids, I could click on it and it would filter the data down here so that I'm looking just at those students. So it is very dynamic in its graphing. Another chart that we give you are DC counts with no identified population, and these right here are what I'm calling your error students, because this means that you have, or your CMP software provider has marked a student as DC and written it into PowerSchool, but yet there's no identified population, and that should not happen. The only students with DC marks as a status should have an identified population with them, meaning they came from the state file from the actual DHR file that we receive. So if you see any counts in this, conversations need to be had to see where that data is getting written in from. If you are importing from your CMP vendor into PowerSchool, you want to make sure that that CMP vendor is not in your point of sale system marking that student DC automatically and them not being in that DC file. Down here at the bottom is where we give you what you're traditionally looking for in your data, which is that spreadsheet of all of your students and what their lunch status is, whether they have an identified population, entry and exit dates. But I want to show you how you can get to more information inside of this report, because a lot of times people will need to run this report for monitoring or compliance purposes, where you might need demographic information such as race, gender, and so forth. And notice that's not in the original spreadsheet we give you. However, if at the top of the screen you click on the Actions button and go to this Select Columns area, there are more columns that can be pulled into this report that you might find beneficial. You can add them one at a time by clicking on. So if I wanted to click on ethnicity and move it into the list, notice it moves it to the right-hand side. If I wanted to click student race and move it over, because ethnicity and race is going to be your two separate boxes, is Hispanic, move it over. If I wanted school ID, or I wanted gender, or I could, if I wanted all of them, hit this arrow right here and it would move all of these to this right hand side. Once you get the columns that you would like to see inside of this report configured, you will then hit apply, and it will regenerate this report and have those columns for you. Now notice these red bars here. Again, this is going to correlate to this chart up here of you having a student who is marked as DC but doesn't have an identified population, meaning it didn't come out of the state file. Something's going on with that data and we need to take a look at it. Once you get this data in here, you can filter for any of these. So I clicked into this report at district office. If I needed to look at a specific school instead of all of the schools, I could click. So if I only wanted to look at high school data, I could filter here. And notice it puts this little filter telling me I'm only looking at high school data. Maybe I only need to look at 12th grade students. I could click grade level. I could find the grade level I need and click 12. And now I'm looking at 12th grade high school students. If at any time I need to go back and look at everybody, I can remove any of these filters just by clicking the X and format this any way that I need. I can sort these ascending or descending, and most importantly, yes, you can print these out if you need to by going to Actions and Download, and I can either print it out as a CSV and open it up in Excel, or I can print it out as a PDF if needed. So this is going to be your most beneficial way to view your CMP data inside of PowerSchool.